this, and it says preparing, and we should be seeing momentarily. We're not. Oh, there we are. Yay! We're live on YouTube, fuckers. Isn't this great?
Woohoo!
Isn't this magical? Welcome, one and all, in YouTube land. All right, so I can close one of these because fucking redundant. And we're about to get this shit on the road. I'm gonna show you how fancy this shit can be. Ready, set, let's fucking do this. Hmm. What's up? Hell yeah. Greetings, true believers, and welcome back to the Rejects Hub and another wonderful edition of Mutant Rejects. I am your host, Dom, and I am joined, as usual, on this lovely return by my wonderful Reject family. To my immediate right is the lovely, the vivacious, the purple haired princess herself, my wife, Kathy. Say hello to the people.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh, she's so cute. Anywho, and of course, to my immediate right, a man who thankfully we rescued from Essex because Jesus, he takes bad jobs. The one and only former stylist of the inner circle and former Essex employee, you dumbass, my brother Phoenix. How are you?
I'm fine. What an intro.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the U.S.
I thought it was damn good. You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, but now I'm unemployed.
Well, technically, yes, but unemployed and alive is better than employed and dead.
That's okay. Your sewer has a couch.
My sewer has everything. Look at it. It's beautiful. Mm. But it's so nice to be back. Sorry for the long hiatus there, folks. I know one of the last times we were here, we came in with Phoenix on the phone and we reviewed New Mutants. Well, New Mutants has since come out in movie theaters, and all of the Reject family actually took the risk, wore a mask, and watched this movie. And we're here to kick things off and get going again and review New Mutants the movie. I guess what we typically did was give our ratings out in X's instead of stars, 1 through 5. Um, why don't we start with, of course, the lady, because our mama raised a gentleman or two, possibly. Kathy, if you had to rate this movie between 1 to 5 X's, what would you give it?
I think I give it 4.5 X's.
Wow, that's a good rating. Do you have an explanation for this, or is it just
Um,
because the purple princess said so?
all around, I really liked the movie. I related a lot to the characters, especially the female characters, Ileana and um, Wolfbane. Ring, that's her name, Ring.
And Danielle Moonstar.
Yes, yes.
So in essence, you're part crazy, part Native American, and you might swing the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
But I only gave it 4.5 instead of 5 because I feel like it was missing something. I can't really explain what. Just a little something like
That, like, je ne sais quoi, so to speak.
yeah, yeah, just something that I don't know. Maybe something with the storyline. I don't know. I can't really place it right now.
Hmm. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm sure we're going to talk about this a lot more, but I figured we'd get ratings out of the way first. Yeah, yeah, I'll wait. I'll throw it to the fabulous Phoenix since he's finally back on U.S. soil and on camera. I,
Yes.
I mean, this is huge. I think the only time we got you on camera was for Trader. So,
Well,
what would you give this movie as a rating?
Well, as for me, I'm going to go it with a little bit more detail than Kathy because I always do the overkill. As a movie, like, and this is counting all the movies out there.
Right.
As a movie, I'm going to give it 3.5 X's.
Okay,
Now, as a comic book movie,
which it was.
I'm going to give it 4.5 X's.
Okay.
And as an X movie, not a triple X movie, but an X movie.
No, no, Triple X is something completely different.
Now, I will say this should have had an R rating, which I think it did.
I can't remember to be honest, but I believe it did.
But as an X movie, I'll also give it 4.5 X's.
Okay, so should we like average this out? Should I break out the calculator? Because like
I don't know. Every time
like
I've
four
seen
and a half and 4.5 is 9, and then another 3.5 be like 12 and a half. So
All right, divide that by 3.
oh Jesus, you'd be giving it like 4.25 roughly
X's.
Okay.
out of all three, roughly.
Okay. So 4.25. We'll go with that.
Okay.
4.25 X's.
Okay. Yeah, as I will say, as an X movie from Fox, I thought it was damn good when you consider some of the movies they put out were absolute stinkers.
Yeah.
Western.
Famke. That's what we gotta say about that.
I like the actress, but worse Jean Grey. I mean, Sophie Turner, who I don't particularly care for,
Was a better one.
because she caused that whole war thing.
That's
What made
another
a,
show.
made a better Jean Grey? It's still better than the X-Men animated show from the 90s with Jean Grey.
Oh.
5 minutes later.
Oh.
Damsel in distress.
That's not what it sounded like.
But considering X projects, I thought it was one of the better ones. I'd probably put it up there in the vicinity of like Logan.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the original X-Men movies. I wouldn't say it's as good, but it was close. If I had to give it a rating, this is tough because like I really enjoyed the movie. It was relatively accurate. It was dead on balls accurate for a Fox film, let's be real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pretty hard. I gave Logan 5 X's. I'm gonna give this movie 4.75.
Okay.
It was that good in my view. I really loved the way the characters were portrayed. I loved the story. I almost got a few things right just from watching the trailer. I was happy to be kind of wrong because it surprised me going into it. But overall, I thought it was well put together. It's the first movie of its kind, as we've said over and over. If you've listened to our podcast, if you
Comic book horror movie.
saw the review, it was a mutant horror film. There has never been such a thing as a mutant horror film, and it lived up to both. It was a great mutant movie, and it was a great horror film. So I got to give it 4.75. I think it not only lived up to expectations, it kind of exceeded mine a little bit. All right, so we're gonna go into. I think the next thing we should jump into, because I know we may know these things, but they don't know these things. Now that you've seen the movie, you may have had a favorite comic book character. What was your favorite character in the movie itself?
Good, because you're clarifying. My favorite character happened to be in Deadpool 2, and he sucked.
And he got cut up with a helicopter blade.
For like 5
Poor
minutes.
Shadowstar.
I love bringing that up to him, by the way, if you haven't watched this before. I love bringing up the Shatterstar was a dick and got cut up in like 5 minutes. Because he always busts my balls for Deadpool, so I had to get him.
Yeah.
Honestly, my favorite character from the movie, and I'm usually more of a Cannonball guy when it comes to X-Force. My favorite character in the movie was Magic, Ileana. I thought she was great. I thought she was crazy. I loved the little Lockheed sock puppet that actually came to life. I thought that was
In the
tremendous.
limbo dimension.
In the limbo. Well, it came out too to fight the bears.
Yeah, because she merged the realms temporarily to give her all that power.
Right. So you got to see Lockheed in a movie.
In both versions.
And I thought that was cool as hell.
Because in the comics, they have a stuffed animal version.
I mean, you can say, oh, well, her outfit wasn't completely accurate and the sword was a different color.
It's a soul sword. It appears however her soul feels at that moment.
Right. And apparently throughout this movie, she was feeling blue. So,
Yeah.
and why not? She's locked up in a cage. Wouldn't you feel blue? I would. I'm wearing one and I'm locked up in a
She was
pandemic.
probably blue because she couldn't breathe because of those pants.
But those pants look damn good on her. Ow! Damn it, Kathy.
Remember, she's playing a teenager.
Playing.
Yeah, I don't know how old the actress is.
As long as she's legal, I'm not going to get in trouble. Anywho.
Your wife's right here.
I know, I already got kicked in the shin. Since I've been kicked in the shin, Kathy, what was your favorite character in the movie?
Ooh. I was gonna say Ileana Magic, but I also really liked Daniel. It's Danny, right?
Danny.
Okay.
Danielle.
Danny Moonstar. She was awesome. Obviously, because she's Native American, and that's always cool when they're represented in any kind of movie.
Right.
And she really fucked with everybody in that movie. Like
She
I
really
mean, she
did.
didn't even mean to. She couldn't even control it.
That's what he was saying earlier. With he actually got some things right from what he watched in the
Yeah,
trailer.
because when we did the
speculated that
preview,
she was actually.
I
the
speculated
bad guy.
that Danny was going to be the mole for Dr. Reyes because Dr. Reyes's powers don't do that. So somebody would have to.
Mhm.
So is Moonstar going to turn against the rest of the mutants? Well, she didn't, but technically
she was the bad guy.
she kind of did, but
Yeah.
she couldn't help herself.
Yeah.
So you felt for her, but at the same time, she was fucking these people up.
Some really scary sequences too.
Yeah, some pretty good scary sequences. I know when Kathy and I, just story from when we went to see the movie together, there was a family behind us, and they brought some not small children, but like single age children.
Yeah.
One of them was like maybe 9, 10, like our son's age, and the other one was a couple years younger.
Yeah.
And I happened to walk into the bathroom, and then they walked in behind me, and I heard them talking about this movie while I was taking a leak, which was weird. But still, it was the 7-year-old basically asked the 9, 10-year-old. So did you think it was scary? He was like, oh no, I loved it, but I wasn't scared at all. And then the 7-year-old was like, I didn't like it. It scared the hell out of me. I was like, what? So yeah, I don't usually tell stories about children in the bathroom, but that one particularly went along with the movie. Like some people were really scared, some people weren't. I wasn't. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah. I liked how they really put into detail all of like the fears of each person, and you kind of got like a little bit of a backstory too.
Yeah, it was a good way to add to the origin
Mhm.
of these characters without doing the same old repetitive, recycled, boring origin story movie of
Yeah.
like how everything's slow and then you get the story out and the action comes together. No, they just pieced it all together and did a fresh take on that too, which I liked. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Phoenix, your favorite character from the New Mutants movie?
Rain.
Wow, I was waiting for Sunspot.
No, one, he's not attractive.
I disagree.
And two, I'll jump to one of my points I was going to make later. In the movie, Sunspot is rich and arrogant. In the comics, Sunspot is rich and arrogant. I don't like him. I mean,
I don't think you're supposed to like him.
I like his powers.
I love his powers.
I have a similar thing with the solar energy, except mine makes me sick and vomit. It's a downside to being a mutant. But as of all the characters, he was probably the most forgettable.
Wow.
Well, he didn't really
Wow.
serve any. I mean, okay, he punched things at the end.
Yeah.
And he had to get pushed to his very limits
Yeah.
just to do something, to not be a
Rain,
chicken shit.
Rain had to tell him to nut the fuck up, basically,
Yes,
in order for him
and
to.
hence one of the reasons I love
No,
her.
Cannonball told him.
Was it
to-
Oh,
Cannonball?
yeah,
Yeah,
did.
he
Okay,
said, "Nut the
I'm
fuck
sorry.
up." Like, nut up, and then that's when he.
Nut up, dude.
Yeah, and he was. I mean, I liked him in the comics. He wasn't my favorite character by far from X Force or the New Mutants, but he's probably the most forgettable.
Probably. I do enjoy his powers, and I thought he was played well because he's an uppity, Brazilian rich dick, and that came off very well.
And I quote from the movie: You wear a shirt once and you throw it away.
You want it,
want
dude? Take it.
Here, have it.
Like,
I mean, really, those people just irk me.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
And I spent the last year and a half in England.
Think about that one for a minute. Shout out to our viewers in England, by the way. We have a couple.
Oh, and you know what's best about being back in America?
Dr. Pepper.
Cream soda. Dr. Pepper and cream soda. Hate to plug it, but I have to.
This episode of Mutant Rejects has been brought to you by Dr. Pepper Cream Soda.
23 flavors.
And also brought to you by Gas Axe.
Oh God, they're gonna shut
Anybody-
this shit down.
Anyway, guys, I picked this up at a yard sale. It's the funniest thing ever.
You gotta love the fart gun.
I love Minions. I mean, I like Despicable Me more, but the Minions were cool, and that is like the greatest thing ever.
Right. Now, I do know going into this, obviously, I don't know how Kathy kind of, but Phoenix and I we're very big fans of Game of Thrones. So since we didn't bring her up yet, too much, what did you think of Maisie Williams' performance in New Mutants? Because this is like her first real big film since the show ended.
Actually, she had one other one that was a teen romance thing.
I understand, but this is bigger. This is mutant shit, you know?
Oh, well, later on, I was going to give her the MPV of the movie because she is still very young. I mean, she's really early 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
She looks 12, but
of all the characters in the movie, she's the most memorable. I mean, she was. I mean, the story kind of revolved around Danny,
of course.
Yeah.
but she was in it just as much as Danny, and she was She was kind of the go-between between all the characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even the doctor. She
But-
was the
but-
she was the one on the doctor's side at first.
And I could be wrong about this, but she was the one that was kind of keeping Danny from going like, I don't want to use this too willy-nilly, but kind of going full on dark side. You know,
well, she did stop her from.
she
in the
did she
tower.
stopped her from jumping off the tower. She became buddy with her. She became more than buddy with her later in the movie.
Yep.
Which was like, wow, because I don't remember that being in comics.
It wasn't. The new mutant that actually went to the gay/lesbian side was Karma.
Yeah.
Later on, and they didn't reveal that till like the late 90s.
Right. But and again, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I didn't remember that from comics. So when I saw those two start to make out, I was like, oh, we're going here. Wow, that escalated quickly. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I give her the MPV of the movie because I really think not only was Rain the heart and soul of the New Mutants back in the day in the comic book, she was kind of the heart and soul of the movie.
Yeah. And she was kind of an awesome Wolfsbane, like the way she portrayed it and the effects.
Oh, she looked
to kind of
awesome.
keep her face, but then add the hairs and the claws.
And I loved when her ears popped. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, like back in the Game of Thrones, like her siblings could become wolves.
No, they were wargs. They could. Bran had the ability to enter.
A wolf.
He could enter any animal, but he could do his wolf and ravens very easily. All the other ones were a little different.
Right, but she couldn't.
No.
So at least she got like a little bit of karmic payback by ending up turning into a wolf in this one,
Yes.
which I think is cool. You know,
It probably helped her get the role, honestly.
for God's sake, I can't. I got people asking to join their video chats. It's like, do you know where I am right now?
Clearly they don't.
Sorry. But yeah, definitely. It was cool to see her become a wolf finally, because that was her family's
Thing.
Yeah.
crest, and
Yeah.
her siblings had the ability. She did not. So to get that was kind of cool. It was like karmic payback.
And anybody noticed it when you saw her as a wolf? She looked a lot like Namira, her actual wolf in Game of Thrones, who was whitish gray with black streaks.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the actual wolf that she turned into was pretty cool looking. Like it wasn't your typical
Yeah,
wolf.
because the way they drew it in the comics was most of the time she ended up looking like a like Sirius Black but brown, like a shaggy dog
Right.
more than a wolf.
Yeah.
Now she had her alternate form which was in between the two, like kind of a hybrid, like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Uh, but again, they it was typically a skinny, long arm, long leg, full of fangs.
Hmm.
True. Very true. Yes. Something you would need a silver bullet for, more or less.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you feel her performance was,
Oh
like,
yeah.
how did you
She
feel about her performance? Is what I should say.
um well, all around, I just like her as an actress because she's just so cute and so British and.
It's
but
so British. Yes, she walked right into playing an Irish chick going chip chip
Nope,
chip.
not Irish. Rain Sinclair is Scottish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Scottish,
Scottish.
whatever, but not British. So she walked right in like chip 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 bip cheerio.
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
Scottish.
But
Top of the morning to you, chap.
so since I like her already, it was hard not to like her as Rain Sinclair. Like she was definitely the piece that held both sides together, and um she can act. She knows what the hell she's doing. She's good in it.
True, true. She definitely stole the movie as far as I'm concerned. I know it was supposed to be based around Danny, sort of, and it was. And the cast itself was very solid. But Maisie was like 10 steps above all of
Well, do you
them.
think it's because she's the most well-known actor in that movie?
I don't think I don't think it has anything to do with well known. I think it has more to do with just,
Acting chops?
yeah, like she has more experience. She
Yeah, I
has
was gonna
more in
say.
the
Yeah.
craft. So of course she's going to be head and shoulders above everybody. And she was
Mhm.
given one of the biggest roles in the movie for a reason.
I
So
mean, she's got 7 consecutive years. Actually, eight. It was 7 seasons, 8 years because we had to wait an extra year for the last season. She has 8 years consecutively running on a TV show that
mhm,
was rated one of the top TV shows in the nation,
True. Very true.
true. No,
and she was one of the primary characters.
it definitely is one of the most emotionally investable shows, as you saw from the last season. But we're not going to get into all that. I'm just saying. But I definitely I definitely enjoyed the hell out of her. I thought she kind of stole the movie a little bit, and that's not a knock on the cast. That's just more of a bravo to her because she's that skilled, and she can kind of take whatever role she's given and make it hers and make it believable, and bring you
Mhm.
something really, really beautiful when it comes out on the screen. So congratulations, Macy. I'm very glad you took this role, and we finally got to see the movie because I've been talking about it for like 3 years.
Has it been that long?
Yes.
It was like late.
Ugh.
It was late 2017, early 2018 in season one of this show when we were doing audio podcasts. We talked about this movie,
Oh wow.
and it was put off so much, and I was afraid they were going to put it off yet again because of the pandemic. But it finally came out, and that's why I was willing to just don a mask and risk it. It was like I waited too long. Impress me.
Okay, quick question.
Hmm.
Kind of leading to that. Even with the pandemic still going on, what if they waited until around Halloween and released it?
Oh.
Because then you got horror fans and like comic book Marvel mutant fans.
It would have been a perfect time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they were finally. I think that even the people making the movie at Disney and whoever else was involved were so sick and tired of pushing this movie back that they just wanted to get it out.
Yeah.
But if they had waited till Halloween, I don't know, it might have made a difference. I mean, maybe this isn't as bad, the world we live in, and obviously Halloween, everybody's
Mhm.
thinking about costumes and horror movies and that sort of thing. So to go to a horror movie that opened around Halloween Day might have done better, but in normal times it would have been a home run.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't know if it would have made much difference because I don't know where we're going to be in October. I didn't think we'd be here now.
Yeah. True.
So, yeah, that's a great question. I wish I had a better answer than that. um all right. So, let's digress from that and well, pick up on at least the horror part of this movie. Did you think like these, fears brought to life, spirit bears and crazy smiley face dudes with claws and everything else. Like, was this actually like scary when you saw it? Was it like, oh, this is genuinely good shit, or like, where did they get this?
Well, since it's the people's own fears, it's what they see inside their head. So of course it's not going to be quite right. Like Ileana's, like the guys with their like super, like when they took the mask off with that super smiley face and like
And the
those
jagged
jagged
teeth.
teeth and just like super over exaggerated with like their bodies and moving and stuff. Like that's how she sees them in her
Yeah.
head. So that's how they project out. So, and as
Not,
well as um Sunspot when he's in the pool or whatever, and it's like his dead girlfriend's touching him on the back, like that's how he
oh,
saw
that part
her.
freaked me out.
That was the
Like
scariest
the
scene.
extra crispy girlfriend putting the hand on his back. I was like, oh,
Well,
oh.
especially since he thought he was in the pool with magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Poor guy thought he was about to get himself some, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden somebody ordered extra crispy.
That scene was going a whole different direction.
It really was.
Yeah.
You
It really
turn.
was.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. And then it kind of blocked Moonstar and Wolfsbane at the same time. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
nobody was getting any. It's a classic horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, in classic horror movies, you do it, you
And then you die, which is why they couldn't, because they were all going to live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And given the ode back to the classic horror movies, it was very much like the whole premise of the movie was a little bit like the first Nightmare on Elm Street when you realize that what happens in your dreams
Can happen in
happens-
reality. Like
Yeah, with
like
the Freddy
dream,
Krueger
like your
thing.
your worst fears can be brought into reality and used to cause you harm.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it gave a nice little ode to it, but it didn't rip it off.
No,
It
I
was
mean,
a
it
completely
was
Yeah.
different manner.
it was pretty cool. It was like X Force meets a Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, they're both of those things are great. Put them together and they're great. Who knew?
Yeah.
We do now, but I didn't walk it into that month.
I honestly thought that movie was kind of gonna suck, just because of. It's true though. It's so true because of just how.
Yeah, give her one.
'Cause
Thank you.
I
Yeah, she deserves to.
no, I wanted to be positive and excited for it, but I had serious doubts. I didn't know if they could pull it off, and thankfully they totally changed my mind. It was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. So kudos for them to do that.
Well, going to the horror side, like going back to it, there were a lot of mentions, like the fact that we saw Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
So
the
Yeah.
DVD box set
Repeatedly.
sitting on the shelf,
Yeah,
the
really?
TV show on repeatedly. Magic's Her Nightmare was also very similar to two episodes of Buffy. One was called Hush, which was the silent episode
Mhm.
with the guys going around
stealing people's voices.
Yeah, and then there was the one in the hospital when Buffy thought all the kids were crazy, when they had the creepy guy with the top hat with the mouth of teeth. And
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about the one where she wakes up in the hospital and it's all.
no, because that one
but-
didn't really have anything to do with horror much.
But that kind of had a little bit to do with New Mutants too, when you think about it.
And since I gave such a shout out to Massey about being the MPV of the movie and being young. A special shout out to young Colby Gannett, who played young Ileana. That
Oh,
scene that they did, I mean, yeah,
where she jumps under the
well,
covers.
she's clearly Russian. The guys were clearly, with the exception of their faces and heads, were clearly Russian mob. And with human trafficking being so big in the news, it it really took the movie to a dark place. And
Yeah,
that little girl in that role, I know she didn't really have to deal with any of that.
but she sold it.
She sold it.
Yeah.
It was awesome, and she is very young. And I'm looking forward to seeing her in other stuff because she
Yeah.
did that good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely like a good way to break into your acting career.
Yeah.
I know she didn't have a whole lot of lines or anything like that, but the way she reacted, the looks on her face and everything just really got you like, you know,
Yeah,
like somebody help that little girl, damn it. Where are the rejects when you need them?
yeah, it definitely had feels.
Yeah, definite feels. Just whoo.
We get to see Lockheed.
I know.
In both forms.
You get to see her with little Lockheed sock puppet. It was like,
And then she spends half the movie sitting on him.
right?
All right, so now in the comics, was Lockheed a dinosaur thing?
No,
He's a
Lockheed was
dragon.
he was a baby dragon, and he
Okay.
was friends with Shadowcat. And during the New Mutants, Ileana was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and then something happened, and she got regressed in age, and she went back to Russia for a while. And when she came back after her parents died, and her brother Colossus was taking care of her at the X Mansion, she became one of the first victims of the legacy virus. And as she was sick, Kitty had Kitty had two dolls. She had a Lockheed doll
Mhm.
to match her pet dragon
Right.
that somebody had made her during the 80s, way back when. And then she had a Banff doll who looked like a little Nightcrawler. She gave the two dolls to Ileana when she was in the hospital bed. And so that's how in this movie she ends up with they went ahead and gave her Lockheed instead of Shadowcat because Lockheed was always with Shadowcat. But
Again, a little bit of revisionist history, but it's like she's in a hospital.
hey, it fit.
Here's a puppet.
It fit. They explained why she had the puppet. They didn't explain how it turns into an actual dragon, but then again, she the whole limbo dimension thing. They didn't really cover that too much. They talked about it, but they didn't. That was a very detailed storyline, so I thought they did pretty well with it.
They did all right with it. Yeah, I'm not.
They touched on
again. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's a little bit different, but it worked considering the circumstances and the way they kind of parodied one to the other. It was kind of genius. It took a very complex story and it shrunk it to fit this movie.
Mhm.
So bravo, hats off. And speaking of Fox movies, I hate to say this, but after the last few, I'm gonna kind of miss the Fox movies. Well, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying if Fox movies and Marvel had a slogan, it would probably be like a day late and a dollar short. Because they did so many horrible movies to begin with, and I know they were breaking new ground. It doesn't mean they weren't horrible. And then all of a sudden they came back at you with movies like Logan, the Deadpools, now this,
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix, which I know a lot of people, feel a certain way about it, but it was a damn good
I
movie.
thought it was good.
And it seemed like they were understanding what they needed to do in these movies to make them better. But by then it was too late because A, they had already made several pretty bad movies. And B, they were already selling these movies to Disney.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice that they came around. I just wish we could have got more movies like this from the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't blame them because obviously the first X trilogy, who knew anything about Marvel movies then?
I got mad when they started retconning. That's why I stopped reading the comic books. Is they started retconning the comic books to match the movie.
To match the movie.
Like all of a sudden, everybody wore black leather, and all of a sudden, Logan has a name.
Hey, at least nobody wore black leather in this movie, so you have to give them some brownie points as a stylist yourself.
Yes, I think they all shopped at thrift stores.
Well, yeah.
Well, except for Berto.
Screw him.
except for Berto. He was very stylish to a point.
Good thing he's rich because he burns everything he wears.
I'm trying to find something to criticize about this movie because I don't want to seem like a complete biased pander monkey. And the only thing that I can come up with, as much as I do like the actor and I do like the role that he portrayed, the accent on Cannonball was just way over the top. It was just so southern. It was like watching a teenage version of Larry the Cable Guy
Well, I
as
think
Cannonball.
wasn't he from, was it Kentucky?
Yes.
Yes,
So a very southern.
but it was still the you throw your shirts away. Like
Yeah.
it
It was a
was
little too twangy.
it was a little over the top. It was a little twangy. I still enjoyed the portrayal. I just thought maybe the accent was like two or three getter duns above where it needed to be.
I love it. The getter duns were a little bit above where it needed to be.
Two or three getter duns. He could have just been like getter done, but he was like getter dun. And you needed to bring it down.
Jesus.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Did you guys have anything like as far as watching the movie that you thought like maybe somebody could have done better, or a cast member could have changed so we all don't sound like pander monkeys?
Well, I have a big one, but I'll let Kathy go
Okay.
first.
One thing that comes to mind is some of the one-liners that Ileana or Magic says. Some of them like were actually funny, and I could hear like the audience laugh too with
Yeah.
me. But most of them had no reaction.
Yeah, they were kind of like dad jokes in
Yeah,
one liners.
it was.
Some of them.
Yeah, it just.
Some of them were really funny. I cracked up
Yeah,
at a few.
yeah. But some of them were just kind of corny, and it's like, come on, like you can leave that part out.
I agree.
Now, I have a couple comparisons like between comics and movies that I'll cover later.
I'll get comfy.
No, but the one that I want to, my biggest gripe is because, I read the comic books in the late late 80s, and I read them all through the 90s. Everybody remembers the comic book arc Zero Tolerance in the X-Men, and that's when they introduced the character of Celia Reyes.
Right.
Alison Braga, nothing against her,
No.
but she looks, acts, and portrays nothing like the comic book version of her. It would have been better if they had given her a different name. Her powers were the same.
Her
She could
powers
create
were the
shields.
same, and
but-
I did enjoy like the Essex version of it.
They should just call her something else. Don't call her Cecilia Wright
Um,
and then not be the character.
But again, like I said, they changed a lot of things from the comic book to the movie, and I'm typically okay with that because, again, I go back to the argument that like I don't care what book you're basing your movie off of, nothing is ever exactly the same. So if they want to, change this character and bring Alison Braga in and make things a little bit different, it's like okay, because she actually played it well. Had she sucked, I might have had an issue with that.
Yeah.
Because again, when I'm thinking of like Celia Reyes, I'm sorry, because you said it. I'm thinking of like I'm in real life. I know they probably could get her, but I'm thinking like Denai Guerrero, what's her last name? Michonne
Oh,
Guerrero.
No, I was thinking more younger, like the girl.
But
who
with
played
the with a Michonne like wig, get the big dreads and everything in a coat, that would have been closer to Dr. Reyes from the comics. But since they didn't go that route, they tried to they brought somebody in that could play the role well. I'm not going to give them too much grief for it because it was still very cool, and it was also very cool to see her eaten by a fucking bear.
demon bear.
A
Yes.
fucking demon bear. Oh my god.
If you want to go different, like Blue Hunt, she did a great job playing Moonstar. Looks nothing like Moonstar, but did a great job playing her.
She did a wonderful job.
yeah.
She doesn't really look that Native American, and Moonstar's always been really tall and really skinny. Blue Hunt, pleasantly average.
she was semi tall and semi skinny. Like it's okay.
I would
you
say
know.
pleasantly average.
I thought she played the role well. I thought it was decently cast. I definitely I loved Adam Beach
Mm-hmm.
as her father.
Yep.
I love that actor. I don't care what he's in. I don't care if he's Slipknot in Suicide Squad and his head is blown up. I don't care if he's kicking wing in Joe Dirt. I'm watching these things just because he's in it.
Happy Anderson was also in this too, and he normally plays a good guy, but he played a
Oh,
twisted
Oh, yeah.
ass in this
he
one.
he played a shit ass in evil type motherfucker
Yeah.
in this one.
Like in the comic books,
And I'm being nice saying that, by the way.
Wolfsbane doesn't kill Reverend Craig. In this movie, she kills Reverend Craig,
And he
kinda
deserved
it.
Jinx.
Yeah. Well, that's what he gets for branding her with a W.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
through mental powers, brands her again.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to Danny.
Yeah. Thanks, Danny, my kind of sort of girlfriend. No.
Yeah,
what?
see, I know she wasn't trying, like she couldn't control her powers, she didn't know how to handle it, but she was technically a mole, which I kind of called, so I'm gonna.
It's fine. I'll pat myself on the back for saying she's going to be the bad guy of the movie.
But it's almost sad that Fox figured it out after
Too
the
late.
fact.
Yeah.
Basically after the fact, like you're already selling your properties, you've already made all these god awful X movies that some
Stop
people
reading comic books, basically.
or flat out hate you for it. And when you
Last
finally right, when you finally
Mhm.
figure it out, nobody seems to care because they're too busy bashing you because of what you've already done. Dark Phoenix is an example of that. Because so many people bashed that I almost didn't want to watch it. And when I finally did, I thought, wait, this isn't bad at all. Like this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a tremendous movie, but it was definitely like a 4X caliber movie, which I was expecting two. So, especially when you read the reviews and you go on social media, but I think it's more people just fed up with Fox for what they did in the past. Like nobody can get over Famca. I don't blame you, but I have. So watching this movie and taking it for what it is, it's like, hey, that's pretty good. But a lot of people don't want to hear that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and also, I'm wondering how they're going to do like how good the movie was, like with the Academy Awards and stuff. And I know mutant movies never make the list, but
No.
it's like, how are they going to do everything? Because when I went to go see it on Friday, we were 2 of 6 people in the theater.
Yeah, there were a few more for our showing of
Yeah.
the movie, but not a lot because obviously they're closing off seats to practice social distancing. But that's cool. Sorry, I'm just spreading this around a little bit. I probably should have done that before. And it's cool that they're trying to maybe sacrifice some profits on movies to keep people safe.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. It definitely made me feel like maybe I could take this mask down and have a snack because people were so far away.
Yeah.
So it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. That probably had me more on edge than the movie was. Like when we were getting there, I'm thinking, how are they going to do this? Like, are we all just going to be one next to another in masks and hope that nobody coughs? And what if somebody does cough? Can we punch them? Can we throw them out?
Shoot him in the head.
Like I honestly, there was a point where Kathy had kind of like, I don't know if she had too much popcorn
Yeah.
or something,
Popcorn kernel got
but
stuck
she
back
started
in my throat.
coughing in the middle of the theater, and I could see people like.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh boy, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Please don't throw us out. It's not that. It's the popcorn. See, popcorn.
Well, I can't help it. Their popcorn kind of sucked.
Yeah.
It was all like kernely. And
Yeah, no, there's
No.
When we had it on Friday, you could tell it was the popcorn from the previous day that they had saved in a bag.
Right. It wasn't
Yeah,
very good.
It was awful.
But at least they were there
It
and they
wasn't
were
even
letting you
warm.
watch the movie and at least we got to have that experience regardless of whatever the fuck we got going on right now.
Plus, it was like our first date, kind of whatever. In
Like
like a year.
5 months.
No,
It's
like
been longer
it's
than
been
that,
like a
man.
year and a half.
That's right, because even before COVID, we had other family issues.
Yeah, we had
going
other
on.
family
Yeah.
issues that we had to tend to.
Yep.
And it's also part of the reason that we hadn't been back in a
Mhm.
while. A lot of family issues, a lot of COVID issues, a lot of stuff going on in the background that made it a little impossible. Um, but we're definitely going to try our best to be back a little bit more regularly. I know Phoenix has at least another page of notes here. Is there anything on those pages that you want to ask us, or just get in on
Um,
the?
I just wanted to clarify some things that there were some big difference between the comics and movies. And I'm not saying the movie was bad for changing it. And I just wanted to let people know that there is a difference. Like one, the entire cast of the movie has killed people. That didn't happen in the comics, but they did it that way for a reason. That was why they're in this little
Yeah,
home and whatnot.
that was how Essex could get a hold of them in the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
place.
Like Cannonball. In the comics, he had great leadership abilities. He co-led the New Mutants, and then later solo led the New Mutants as well as X Force. And another huge this is one of my little gripes. Why he was wearing a cast for the entire movie, like he had the broken arm.
Cannonball, yeah,
When when he is blasting, he's invulnerable.
right.
Um,
But I guess because they never really specify, I guess if he had had an injury, just regular old, I'm walking around town, whatever, broke my arm in a mining accident, that like he would still have the broken arm, but then it wouldn't affect him when he was blasting off.
yeah, but if anybody read the comics, they know he's also an immortal. That when Sauron, who's the big winged Doctor Lycos guy? Sauron.
Sauron.
Sauron. Sauron impaled him through the heart. He was up and walking the next day.
Okay, I was trying
Because
to
he
bail
healed.
him out. You're not helping me.
Right. And again, in the movie, they had him kill his dad and a bunch of miners.
Mhm.
They also dumbed him down in the movie.
Definitely, hence the accent.
So that's the Cannonball. The next one is Rain. Of course, in the movie, she kills Reverend Craig,
Yeah,
and in the comic book, she didn't.
in the movie he deserved it though.
In the movie, he
both said
definitely
it.
deserved it. In the comic book, he deserved it too, but he got away with it. They made her kind of a lesbian.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, she could be bi. She's not full on lesbian.
She could have been experimenting.
Now, in
She was locked up. She could have been gay for the stag.
Oh God.
It happens.
Now, I will say that in the comic book, she did have a very strange romance stuff going on. Like her first love in the New Mutants was Doug Ramsey Cypher, who got killed. And then not long after that, the Genosians bonded her psyche to Alex Summers, Havoc, Cyclops' younger brother. And she was
You
completely
mean older brother? No, I'm kidding. I'm totally
Fuck
kidding.
you, fuck you, Fox.
I thought he was gonna say "fuck you, me."
No, fuck you, Fox. They're the ones with fun.
See, this is why they can't line up.
Yeah, they did bad mistakes. But then she was forced to. She was obsessed with him, and that kind of. So she's always had a tricky love life.
Mhm.
My one little gripe about Rain in the movie, she uses her wolf abilities while still human.
I
And
love
in the
that, though.
comic, she couldn't really do that. But it's
But
not
it
the
looks
big
so
thing.
good in the movie, though.
Now, on to Magic, because I know she's kind of one of y'all.
Oh, we're gonna fight on this one.
Well, if you remember, in the comic books, she was always very sweet, unless she let the demon out a little bit. Now, because she was kidnapped and raised in limbo by a demon. She taught a bunch of magic, became kind of evil,
Right.
came back and became a teenager again. But and every once in a while it would come out. But in this movie, she was kind of a bitch the entire
Kinda?
movie.
That's like saying Maisie was kind of or Wolfsbane was kind of a lesbian. Like she was a bitch in this movie, but I loved it.
Yeah.
It works.
Did she go to the same school as Romanoff? Russian school to make you a bitch.
I don't know, but it was great. I love the attitude. I love the way she just kind of immediately picked
I'm
on
in here because I killed 13 men.
18.
18 men.
one at a
One at a time.
time. What? I loved it. I love it. Like that character is cool, but they made it so much more badass by giving her that attitude, and it also kind of helped to give that original antagonist in the movie because she was just picking at Danny from the minute she walked in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Well, I mean,
making
it's
her
kind
run
of
in, making her run into the dome,
yeah. It's like
so she kind of looked like Ralph Wiggum
the
in the
how
Simpsons movie.
yeah the how
Oh no, blow back!
the high school teenage girl thing.
Yep.
Now the last one I want to go into is Danny. Um, like in the comics, she's Native American. She lives on a reservation, and her family sends her to Xavier when she starts to develop powers because Native Americans are accepting of alternative things. Like they're okay with gay people,
They're okay with
transgender for the most part, and they're very accepting people.
yeah,
Yeah.
And in the comics, they send her to Xavier.
right,
Now, in this one, they have Moonstar kill her entire reservation.
right.
But other than
Well,
that,
technically, the demon bear killed the entire reservation.
yes, but she's the one that brought it forth. It was her nightmare.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But still, it wasn't her. It was the demon bear. Just like it really wasn't her fucking with the rest of
Now,
the
again,
New Mutants.
they made
was,
they made it a little darker, but I would give them props for following the Demon Bear saga, which was actually a big event in the New Mutants comic book.
Mhm.
They changed a lot, but they followed it because for the time period in the 80s, that was a dark storyline.
Yeah.
They made it darker, but it still it made the movie.
And it's
Yeah.
a slight take on and it's a slight tweak on Native American beliefs. So of course
Yeah.
it's going to be a little bit dark.
Yeah.
But
And the last thing I will say on the whole movie: small cast, small set, big movie.
yeah, big
Yeah.
movie, big effects,
Mhm.
big explosions,
Yeah,
big
I mean,
fights.
It has a relatively. I think it had a total of 20 people in the whole movie,
Maybe, yeah.
maybe less.
And that's including like flashback scenes.
And they basically had two sets.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mhm.
Well, they had a storage room with a cot in it where little
I mean-
Elena was at.
Yeah.
And then they had the
hospital.
and then they had
The
a little bit you
reservation.
saw of the reservation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's the thing, like it's sad, and I know it's long over and whatever, but I'm gonna bring it back up. I feel like this is the kind of thing they could have done with the Gifted. Sorry, just saying, like small sets, maybe a smaller cast, big effects, big powers, big
Yeah.
fights.
I mean, the biggest power you saw was when Polaris ripped the plane out of the sky.
Right, but I thought they did a little bit too much with cast to begin with, and not enough with the actual powers and fights and things along those lines.
Well, they spent all their budget to get Steve and Warrior.
Especially in
Yeah.
season 2 when you're bringing in the Inner Circle and all their crew, you're bringing in the Morlocks and all their crew, you're bringing back the Underground. Now you have this huge cast, you have all these sets, you have all this fancy shit, beautiful styling, by the way, but it takes a lot of money out of your budget. So then
Yeah.
you're losing money that you could be putting into battles and effects and things like that. So maybe they should have went along the lines of this movie, and maybe it would have still been here today.
Yeah, I agree.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to get that in. I'm sorry. I'm still mad. I'm still mad. Can we get it back, please?
So, guys, heartfelt from all of us, please go see the movie.
Yes.
Yes,
In
if-
short,
Yes.
if you're thinking about going to see this movie, go see this movie.
It's
It is
worth it.
totally worth it. I still put it up there, like right under Logan,
Mhm.
which is right under Deadpool in my book. But that's neither here nor there. But it's very good. You will definitely enjoy it. You will definitely thank me. Go see the movie. And now that we've said that, I guess the last thing that we should bring up, changing gears dramatically, is yesterday's news.
2 days ago now.
Oh yeah, it's 2 days ago now. It feels like yesterday because it's even hard for me to get out. But the news of Chadwick Boseman passing away from colon cancer. I think he was maybe 43.
Yeah.
Um, for first of all,
We lost mom to cancer,
yeah, we lost our mother
and we're
to
both
cancer,
41.
and it was one of those things like Chadwick a little bit where we thought she had it under control and everything was okay, and then it came back, and when it came
It
back with a
spread.
vengeance, and by the time we found out, it was too late, and she left us. So to the family of Chadwick, I'm not saying that we completely understand what you're going through, but we can definitely relate. Our thoughts, our prayers, whatever you want to call them, our condolences go out to you. This man will truly be missed. I would be lying if I said, "Oh, well, I knew him long before Civil War," because I didn't. No clue. And I saw him come in as Prince T'Challa, and I watched Civil War, and I saw him as Black Panther, and fell in love with this guy almost immediately. Black Panther is still one of my favorite MCU movies to this day.
Hmm.
I was even excited for Black Panther 2 because we were going to get, or at least from reports, we were going to get the storyline where Storm was introduced and began a relationship with King T'Challa, which I thought was going to be amazing. I didn't know who Storm was going to be, but I was excited for the movie. I was excited to see him back in that role, and I believe he was either in the process of shooting or done shooting the Jackie Robinson movie. Which, if you're sports fans, Jackie Robinson probably made the big caused the biggest change in sports history
Hmm.
as a baseball player.
Yep.
And I had seen some previews for that, and I saw you know a little bit of what he had done with the role, and I was blown away by that too. So it's just a sad story all the way around. He was a great talent. He was a great person. He will be missed. I don't know what else to say about that. Do you guys have anything to
I do.
Yeah.
Wakanda
Wakanda
forever!
forever. I mean, it's been going around social media, so I'll say it too. Rest in power, my king. And I think that's just where we're going to end things here, because seriously feels. Um, so I want to thank everybody for watching, and
Good to see y'all.
it's good to be
Yeah.
back. Regardless of the sad news, it's still great to be back. We're going to try to be back to you a little bit more frequently. We're going to start, beating the interwebs and finding all the facts we can. And we're going to talk about whatever we can talk about. We may even preview the Black Widow movie, even though none of
Y'all
us
can
really
preview
want
that
to.
one.
No,
We
no.
probably won't, but we could. We could. You never know.
It looks awful.
In the meantime, and this has been a while, so give me a minute. If you want to reach out to us, ask us any questions, give us anything for the show, feel free, if you haven't, to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook by searching for Mutant Rejects, the Gifted Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Mutant Rejects. You can also find, if for some reason you're listening to us on podcast, which can be found at anchor.fm/Foxden. You can also find us on YouTube at Foxden Productions. Just search for us. We are one of three shows. Our flagship has kind of been Top Rope Wrestling Talk because it was our first show we put on there, and we do it the most frequently. We also have Drunk Upon a Time, which, if you've seen before, is my wife and I and maybe some friends of ours just having some drinks, telling some stories, telling some jokes, playing some games, having fun. And then, of course, you got us. And
And we're in talks for a fourth one, possibly.
we're in talks for maybe a few extras. It just depends on how much I can handle because I'm the one doing all these recordings.
Well, I mean, you got that producer tag.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I'm the only producer for like 4 shows. So, in the meantime, thank you for watching. definitely be back to you soon, and we will see you when we see you.
See you on the flip side.
Look,
Peace.
look at you getting all gangster.
Gangster. This is gangster.
Bye, everybody.